Okay, so they opened, but just because they opened doesn't mean that the hand might not belong to us. Okay, because if I'm overcalling in a suit that's higher than the one that they opened, and those are the only fits we have, then we can outbid them at the one level, which is pretty cool. Okay, and the third reason to overcall is the fun one. Your right hand opponent opens one diamond, you overcall one spade, and the person on your left goes, I don't know what to do. I knew what to do if he had passed.
I know.
Seriously, does that ever happen to y'all?
I messed up here.
Of course it does. So the third reason is the fun one. I want to get in the opponent's way. Okay, y'all are about to pay $4 to play bridge. You should derive at least $1's worth of enjoyment by making things difficult for the person on your left and the person on your right. Questions so far? All right, well, let's talk about how cheesy my hand can be to overcall. You do not, and here's the fun part, you do not need to have an opening hand to overcall. If I'm overcalling at the one level, all I'm doing is dipping my toe in the auction. Okay? I'm not saying I have an opening hand. I'm not actually telling my partner I want him to do anything other than, if he gets on lead, to lead my suit. Okay? So I do not need an opening hand to overcall. As a matter of fact, I would overcall every day of the week with this. Ace, queen, fifth, king, X, and out. 3 small, 3 small. If the opponent's open one diamond or one heart, I'm going to overcall one spade. Partner, I've got a good suit. Or I've got a good hand. Or both. Okay? But I want to dip my toe in this auction on the first time that I have the opportunity, because if it comes back around, it might be riskier to do so. Yes, ma'am?
Would you still overcall one spade if you only had 4 spades?
Now we're getting to the definition of a good suit. Now, when you get to be as good of a player as Paul, and that's something y'all should aspire to, by the way, you may find a hand that only has a suit that only has 4 cards in it that you feel like overcalling. Okay? Until you get to, I'm not going to say there's a secret club of 4-card overcallers out there. But most people, and when I say most people, what I really mean is everyone in this room should have at least 5 cards in their suit to overcall. Okay, at least 5 cards in their suit to overcall. Okay, so if you have a 4-card suit that you feel like overcalling, we still live in America, and you still can, but I would encourage you to have your overcalls every single time 5 cards. Does that make some sense? Just advice, because when you dip your toe in the auction, the great thing about being able to pick a trump suit is you hopefully can pick one where you have more than the opponent. If you have a 5-card suit, the chances of that happening actually go up by a factor of 10. So, definition of a good suit is I've got at least 5 of them. Now, another definition of a good suit is looser. It depends on how good your partner's sense of humor is. Okay? I like to have one of the top 2 and 2 of the top 4 honors in a suit. So ace, jack, king, jack. If I've got king, jack, it would be nice to have the 10 or the 9. Because especially if I don't have an opening hand, I want my partner to be able to lead that suit and not laugh at me. Okay, when my high card is the jack and it gets taken by the queen. 'Cause he, or even better, he bangs down the king. And declare takes the ace, and he can see the queen jack on the board. Because that is, will lead to unpleasant conversation. Okay? Questions?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I thought I remembered you're saying that the play tends to be better if you have a 4-4 rather than a 5-3.
Yeah, and when I'm opening the bidding, we can find our 5-3s. But as an overcall position, I am not in as good of a position to repeatedly name suits. Okay, and especially as an overcaller, here I've got a 9 count. Okay, so with this 9 count, I've got a 1 bid hand. Okay, and that bid is going to be spades. Okay. Now, I got another one for you, which aggravatingly enough happens on occasion. All right, how many high card points?
14.
Go! I got a 14 count. This is great. I'm going to open the bidding, and my right-hand opponent opens. No, they don't open 1 spade. They open 1 diamond. Okay, I've got a jack-high suit. Am I still overcalling 1 spade? You betcha. I was going to open this hand 1 spade. The fact that I don't have a good suit isn't going to prevent me from saying, hey, I've got a good hand over here. Do something intelligent. We'll get to the do something intelligent part in a bit. Okay. So if I'm overcalling a suit at the 1 level, good suit or a good hand. Now, most people set a minimum threshold for just how cheesy overcalls can be. I would encourage y'all to do this. Okay? I'm personally not going to overcall in a hand that has less than 8 high card points. Okay? No matter how good my suit is. Just making sure lightning isn't going to strike me, because I've got some partners in the room that may remember differently. But ordinarily, I'm going to have at least 8 points in my hand. And if I only have 8 points, most of them are going to be in my suit. So, okay, I've got an 8 count. Now, I'm going to tell you something that happens if you don't overcall. And again, no one is going to force you to overcall with this hand. Ace, king, 5th, jack and 1, 3 small, 3 small. But if you choose not to overcall with this hand, as God is my witness, the auction will always go, oh, hold on. I'm going to make a change. Okay. You have the 3x of hearts. The auction, if you choose not to overcall, will always go thusly. You choose to pass, your left-hand opponent bids a no trump. Righty raises to 3 no trump. Your partner's on lead, and your partner will, every single time, lead the 4 of hearts. Or maybe the 5 of hearts. If only there were a way that I could have told him to lead a spade. If only there were a way. So, overcalling at the 1 level really is just dipping your toe in the auction. Partner, if you happen to be on lead, please lead a spade. Does that make some sense? Now, I'm going to go very quickly on other types of overcalls. If I overcall 1 no trump, that pretty much means that I was going to open 1 no trump. And there's another piece of that. Let's say I've got this hand. All All right, so I have a smooth 16 count. Okay. If the opponent opens one diamond or one spade, I've got a really good one no trump overcall. One diamond, I've got two stoppers in the suit. That means as long as my left-hand opponent's leading the suit, I'll take two tricks in this suit. They are not going to be able to run a bunch of diamonds unless they get to lead them 3 times. If they lead spades, same thing. But if they open one heart, I do not have a heart stopper. And when you overcall one no trump, you're telling your partner, I can prevent them from taking the first 5 tricks in this suit. Okay? So, overcalling a no trump with this hand, while you may feel the urge to do it, please realize there's a certain amount of risk associated with that, such as your partner raising you to 3 and the opponent's taking the first 5 heart tricks. Because what are they going to lead? They're going to lead a heart. They open a heart, got 5 of them, that's what's coming. So if you're going to overcall a no trump, you should be able to prevent them from taking the first 5 tricks in the suit. It's called having a stopper. Second thing on overcalls. So far we just talked about dipping our toe in the auction. Dipping our toe in the auction is for one level overcalls. Worst case scenario, I get to play one spade, and boy, I hope I can scramble to take 7 tricks. If I can't, then the opponents can almost certainly have made something, and it's just not going to go that poorly for me. However, if I'm overcalling at the 2 level, okay, all of a sudden I've contracted, if worst case scenario happens, to take 2/3 of the tricks in a hand where I could have significantly less than half the deck. And if I don't have a good suit, really, really bad things start happening. And at some point in your bridge career, may not be today, may not be tomorrow, but you are going to play against people who will enjoy teaching you the value of good 2-level overcalls. I can tell you when it happened to me. I can tell you who it happened against. I can tell you that it was doubled and it wasn't particularly fun, and the person on my left said, wow, I wouldn't have overcalled that hand. After he took me for 1100. Gotta love it. The fella I was playing with. Anyway. And occasionally you will play with people who care enough about your game to say stuff like that pleasantly. And the guy was pleasant. He really was. And he actually thought I was at some point going to become a good bridge player. I don't know whether he still thinks that or not.
I don't want to hear pleasant comments like that in this game.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't need to make pleasant comments like that in this game. Yes, ma'am.
If you ever call at the 2 level, shouldn't it almost be like a band hand?
No, actually, if they open one spade, and let's look at this. All right, I have a smooth 10 count. My right-hand opponent has opened one spade. And let's look at all the good reasons that I should be in this auction. Okay, and we'll just review our reasons for overcalling. First, I've got a good hand. I think this hand might belong to us. No? I'm overcalling a suit that's lower than their suit. And they have an opening hand and I don't. Okay, not so much. Second reason, I have a good lead director. Here I actually do have a good lead director. A reasonably good lead director, ace, jack, 5th, but then I think about geography. Okay, if they end up in spades, then I'm on opening lead. So I need to overcall on this ratty suit and not good hand to remind myself what to lead. No, that doesn't make any sense. And now the third thing. third reason to overcall, I want to get in their way. It's like they've already found their fit. If they've opened one spade, they have a fit. Okay, so 2-level overcalls, really. Good suits, good hands. Now, I say that. I'm going to show you a hand that I would overcall with. And now I'll actually answer your question. Because I enjoy doing stuff like that. All right, my right-hand opponent's opened one spade. If my right-hand opponent hadn't opened, would I have opened this hand? Yeah, we haven't gotten there yet, but this is a hand that is pretty much worthless unless clubs is trump. Okay, so I would open this hand 3 clubs. Okay, which is code, and we'll get there in about 3 weeks. It's code for, partner, I don't have a good hand, but I got a bunch of clubs. And then you get to bang your chest and say, left-hand opponent, you now get to start describing your hand at the 3 level. So that overcall takes up a lot of bidding room, okay, which is one of the reasons we overcall. Does that make some sense? The more space your overcall takes up, the more difficulties you are going to give your opponents. Yes, ma'am.
Go back to the bidding on this from the
My right-hand opponent has opened one spade, and it's my bid. And I say, you know, I want to get in their way.
3 clubs.
3 clubs.
Okay.
Bang your chest. Deal with me. And by the way, banging your chest, that's really more of a kitchen table thing to do than a bridge center thing to do. In case you actually say, oh, Ed says he bangs his chest all the time. It's like, no, I don't. Any questions? Yes, sir. If they open one spade and I overcall one no trump, I'd like to have 2 spade stoppers. So something that looks like King Jack, King 10 9 fourth, Ace Jack third. So I've got at least 2 high cards in the suit, and I have enough that I would have opened a no trump. So 15 to most no trump overcalls, people playing 15 to 18 points instead of 15 to 17. All right. Got a few minutes left. I'm going to tell you what you should do when your partner overcalls. And there's a chart, page 25 in the Friendly Bridge book. That is a big improvement over what we used to have in the book, called it the Chart of Doom. And it lists bids that you can make and what they mean. But basically, if you don't have support for your partner, you need to have something that looks like an opening hand, if not better, to start taking bids. Okay, your partner, when he overcalls, has not asked you to do anything unless you have a fit. Okay, if you have a fit, your partner, one of the reasons he overcalled was to get in the opponent's way, you should help him. Okay? So if you have 6 to 10 points and 3 or 4 card support, you can bid just as though he had opened the bidding. Okay, so you can raise his 1 spade overcall to 2 spades. Now, I'm going to leave you, and there's a lot of other things you can do. You can Q bid. Q bid is bidding the opponent's suit to show that you have a good hand and like your partner's suit. Here's the fun one. All right, y'all remember this hand. One diamond, 1 spade, your right hand opponent is doubled, which in theory shows hearts. We'll get there. What do you do with this hand?
Fill it in.
You put on your tights and a cape. You say, 4 spades. 4 spades. Your partner might have wanted to get in their way. So what should you do? Help him. Now, being vulnerable, this might be a stretch. Maybe. But if y'all can't make 4 spades, and is there any reason to think that y'all can make 4 spades? Not really, although if your partner has a couple bullets, you might have a better chance than you would think. If y'all can't make 4 spades, the opponents are going to be able to make some. Questions, comments?